Welcome to the Risk Wheelhouse, the podcast where we navigate the ever-changing seas of risk management and technology. Join your hosts, Ori Wellington and Sam Jones, as they steer you through the latest trends, insights, and strategies shaping the future of integrated risk management. Ready to chart a course towards success? Hop aboard and let's set sail into today's deep dive.
Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive. I'm Ori Wellington, an analyst here at Wheelhouse Advisors.
And I'm Sam Jones, also an analyst with Wheelhouse.
And you are listening to the Risk Wheelhouse, the place we break down, well, the complex and, let's be honest, often very confusing world of integrated risk management, or IRM.
It's good to be back. And today we're diving into something that's really timely. It's a brand new article that just dropped last week, January 15th.
Written by our own founder and CEO, John A. Wheeler.
Exactly. And for anyone listening who might be new to the IRM space, it's probably worth taking a second to establish why a new article from John is, a big deal.
Right. He's not just the founder of our firm. His history in this industry goes way back.
It really does. He's the analyst who actually coined the term integrated risk management back in 2016.
That was when he was leading the charge to get the industry to move beyond those clunky old school GRC technologies, right?
That's the one. He saw that the legacy governance, risk, and compliance model just wasn't built for the modern digital business, and he really framed this whole shift towards IRM.
So when he writes about the state of the market a decade later, here in 2026, we should probably pay attention.
We definitely should. The article is titled, Navigating the RiskTech Buyer Trap, SaaS versus Integration Maturity.
The trap. I like that. It sounds a little ominous.
It is ominous because the trap is expensive and incredibly frustrating for anyone who gets caught in it.
Okay, so let's set the stage. What is the trap?
Well, the core idea is this. It's early 2026. The market is it's flooded. Every vendor seems to be shouting about their next-gen platform.
Oh, absolutely. You can't open an industry journal or go to a single conference without seeing next-gen this or AI-powered that. It's just a wall of noise.
It is. And the trap is that buyers, chief risk officers, CISOs, they're looking at these sleek new user interfaces and hearing about all the AI capabilities, and they're making a very dangerous assumption. They're assuming that because the software looks modern, it must be fully mature and integrated under the hood.
It looks like a brand new car, so the engine must be perfect.
Exactly. But John's research suggests that a modern look in this particular market cycle often signals the exact opposite. It's a sign that a massive rebuild is currently in progress, not that the product is finished and ready for seamless integration.
Okay, that's a huge disconnect, because if I'm a buyer, that sleek new UI is a relief. I'm thinking, great, finally something that doesn't look like it was designed in 1998. This is going to be easy to use, easy to integrate.
And that feeling of relief is the bait. You're buying the promise of ease, but you might actually be signing a contract for a front row seat to their construction project.
A very expensive front row seat, I imagine.
The most expensive.
Okay, before we get into the nuts and bolts of this, just a quick reminder for everyone listening. If you want to see the research we're talking about today, you can find more information at wheelhouseadvisors.com.
And you can find this specific article at risktechjournal.com. That's our free standard publication, great for keeping up with the latest trends in IRM.
And for the really serious practitioners out there, the people who need that deep, granular analysis to justify a major purchase or, frankly, to avoid a bad one, you'll want to subscribe to the RTJ Bridge.
That's our premium research service. We publish in-depth notes every week that give you the kind of insight you'd expect from a high-price subscription with a larger firm, but at a fraction of the cost. You can find that at rtj-bridge.com. That's rtj-bridge.com.
All right, so let's talk about the landscape. What is it about 2026 that's creating this trap right now?
John's article calls it a visible transition cycle. And if you look at what the big established RiskTech vendors are doing, you see three trends happening all at once.
Okay.
First, they're all rebranding their portfolios. They're trying to shed the old dusty product names and sound fresh and modern.
Trying to sound like they belong in the AI era.
Precisely. Which brings us to number two. They are all introducing AI capabilities because, well, it's 2026. If you don't have an AI story, you basically don't have a product anymore. It's just table stakes.
You won't even get the meeting.
You won't. And third, and this is really the critical part, they're all emphasizing SaaS-first delivery. And just to be clear for everyone, that's SaaS, pronounced SaaS.
Right, software as a service. So rebranding, AI, and a move to a SaaS-first model. On the surface, that all sounds like progress. It sounds like exactly what customers have been asking for.
And it is progress. The problem isn't the technology. The problem is how the buyer interprets the timeline of that technology.
What do you mean?
When a buyer sees a vendor announce a new SaaS-first platform with a slick UI, they think, finally. This means near-term integration maturity.
I think SaaS equals plug and play.
Exactly. They expect it to embed into their business operations faster, to give them those integrated risk management outcomes right out of the box. They think the vendor has done all the hard work already.
But that's not the case.
Not even close. There's a quote in the article I think is so important. John writes, that interpretation can be costly.
So why is it so costly? What's the fundamental disconnect?
It's because platform modernization follows a predictable sequence. It's an engineering reality. You don't just flip a switch and your entire legacy platform becomes a modern integrated SaaS offering. You have to build it step by step.
In the integration part.
The integration maturity, the part that actually delivers the value where all the pieces talk to each other and to the rest of your business seamlessly, that is the last step in the sequence, not the first.
So going back to my car analogy, you're buying the shiny paint job and the fancy new touchscreen display.
But you didn't check if the engine has been connected to the transmission yet. You're mistaking a redesigned UI and some flashy AI packaging for what he calls productized integration.
You move in, you turn the key.
Nothing. Nothing happens. Or in the enterprise software world, nothing happens. Means you're about to spend the next 2 years and a few $1 million on consultants to build all the plumbing yourself.
That's the trap. It's the gap between what's ready for a marketing slideshow and what's actually ready for production.
That's it in a nutshell.
Okay, so let's break down this sequence. John's article outlines a 4-stage platform transformation sequence. I think this is super helpful because it's like a roadmap. It can help you figure out where a vendor really is, no matter what their sales deck claims.
It's a very predictable path. Stage 1 is modernize the delivery model.
This is the move to the cloud.
This is the move to the cloud. It's the SaaS-first announcement. It's about getting the foundation off of an on-premise server and into a cloud environment. It's foundational, but it's just step 1.
Okay, so you've laid the new foundation. What's next?
Next is stage 2. Reset the experience layer.
This is the new UI, the eye candy.
It is. The modern UX, the part that looks great in a demo, it probably has a dark mode. But the key thing to understand about stage 2 is that initially, it's often just a surface level change. It might be a new skin running on top of a lot of the old back-end logic. It makes the user feel like things are modern, but it doesn't necessarily change how the data is structured or how the workflows operate under the hood.
So we got a new foundation and a new paint job, but the internal wiring might still be the old stuff.
For a while, yes. Which leads directly into the hardest part, stage 3. Stabilize extension and object models.
Okay, that sounds technical. Let's break down object models for anyone listening who isn't a systems architect. Why is this so important and so difficult?
Think of the object model as the blueprint for your data. It defines what a risk is, what a control is, how they relate to a business process or an asset. It's the skeleton that holds everything together.
And in the old legacy systems, that skeleton was pretty rigid.
Very rigid, often hard-coded. To build a modern, flexible SaaS platform, you have to completely redesign that skeleton. You need it to be both stable and extensible. And that process rewriting that core logic to work in a new cloud-native way is incredibly messy.
That sounds like the construction zone phase you mentioned.
This is 100% the construction zone. It often involves what engineers call breaking changes. It means things that used to work one way might suddenly work differently. It's why features might disappear for a while and then reappear. The vendor is actively rebuilding the engine while you're trying to drive the car.
And if you're a customer on that platform during stage 3, you're going to feel that turbulence.
You're definitely going to feel it. Which brings us, finally, to the promised land.
Stage 4.
Stage 4. Productized integration and operational patterns. This is the stage where the buyer finally gets the value they thought they were buying back at the stage 1 announcement.
This is where the plug-and-play promise starts to become real.
Exactly. This is where you get the pre-built connectors, the automated workflows that actually cross different modules without custom code, the seamless data sharing that you need for true integrated risk management.
I see it now. The whole trap is that the marketing hype kicks in at stage 1 and 2. Look, we're on the cloud. Look how beautiful our new UI is. But the actual business value, the stuff that makes a CISO's life easier, doesn't really arrive until stage 4.
And that could be years later. This is what John calls the misbuy risk. You commit to a next-gen SaaS platform expecting those stage 4 results on day 1. But the vendor is still deep in the trenches of stages 1, 2, and 3.
And so the buyer is stuck. They have to do all the heavy lifting of integration themselves with expensive consultants and custom code?
They're essentially paying for a toolkit they have to assemble themselves, and they thought they were buying a finished machine. They signed up for a Tesla and got a box of parts and a wrench.
That's a brutal position to be in, especially if you've gone to your board and promised that this new system is going to deliver value in 6 months.
It's a career-limiting move if you're not careful.
So you've mentioned this is all happening in 2026. The AI factor seems to be a huge accelerator here. Why does this trap bite harder now than it did, say, 5 years ago when we were just talking about moving to the cloud?
It's because our basic assumptions about SaaS are no longer stable. For a decade, we were trained to think SaaS is simple. The vendor manages it, it's in the cloud, it's secure, it's easy.
Right.
But AI has fundamentally changed the risk equation. John's article even references that big IDC report from late last year, December 2nd, 2025.
The one with the crazy title is SaaS Dead.
Is SaaS dead? Rethinking the future of software in the age of AI. It argues that the whole model is up for debate because of the new complexities AI introduces.
You have these two massive forces converging at the same time.
You do. On the vendor side, they have to rebuild. This isn't optional for them. It's survival. They can't run sophisticated AI and machine learning models on a 20-year-old on-premise architecture. They need a modern SaaS foundation to deliver the features the market is demanding.
If they don't rebuild, they become irrelevant. They become dinosaurs.
Correct. But at the exact same time, on the buyer side, the trust bar is being raised dramatically, specifically because of AI.
Talk about the security angle on that. I know we've seen some pretty alarming reports about what happens when you let AI loose across these interconnected SaaS platforms.
We have. The Cloud Security Alliance, the CSA, published their State of SaaS Security Report 2025 back in April of last year, and the findings were stark. They identified 2 primary attack vectors that are exploding right now: SaaS-to-SaaS connectivity and identity expansion.
Identity expansion. That sounds a little dystopian. What does that mean in practical terms?
It sounds like sci-fi, but it's very real. It just means non-human identities. Think bots, APIs, service accounts, AI agents, software talking to other software without a human in the loop.
And in an AI world, that's happening constantly.
All the time. An AI agent might query your risk register, then automatically pull employee data from your HR system, then connect to a third-party threat intelligence feed, all to update a single dashboard. Each of those actions is a non-human identity, traversing your network and crossing application boundaries.
And if that identity gets compromised, or if its permissions are too broad.
Are you ready to see risk management in action? At Wheelhouse Advisors, we've launched a new YouTube channel dedicated to integrated risk management. You'll find quick explainers, insights from our IRM Navigator research reports, highlights from the Risk Journal, and conversations from the Risk Wheelhouse podcast. We're covering the topics that matter most to executives and risk leaders, from AI governance and cyber insurance to operational resilience and regulatory change. Every video is designed to help you anticipate risks, adapt with confidence, and build resilience in a digital-first world. In our first video, we explain how ISO 42001, the EU AI Act, and the NIST AI Risk Management Framework can work together as a unified playbook for AI risk. Subscribe today at youtube.com/@wheelhouseadv and get the latest insights delivered directly to you. That's youtube.com/@wheelhouseadv. Subscribe now and stay ahead of the risks that matter most.
You have a catastrophic security breach that moves at machine speed. So understandably, buyers are scrutinizing things like data boundaries and continuous assurance like never before. They need proof of control.
So here's the collision course. Buyers are demanding more proof of security and control because of AI-driven risks.
Well, the vendors are in the middle of a massive multi-year rebuild where those very controls and data models are in flux because they're still trying to stabilize stage 3.
Wow. So if you're a buyer and you just assume SaaS equals simple and secure in 2026, you are taking on a mountain of unpriced risk.
A mountain. You have to ask your vendor, okay, great AI features, But how does your new architecture enforce data boundaries between tenants? How do you govern that AI agent's identity? And if they're still figuring out their back-end object model, they might not have a very good answer.
It's like asking the construction foreman about the fire suppression system while the walls are still just wooden frames.
And he says, don't worry, it's going to be great. That's not a good enough answer anymore.
Okay, so this has been a great theoretical discussion. But John's article doesn't just leave it there. He provides a real-world case study to show this isn't just an academic model. He brings receipts.
He does. The case study focuses on Archer and their Evolve platform.
And let's be really clear here,
Yeah.
just so everyone understands. The point isn't to bash Archer.
Not at all. In fact, the article presents it as a clear, well-documented case study of a necessary corporate evolution. Archer is one of the original giants of GRC. They had a massive legacy footprint they had to modernize. Their journey is just a perfect illustration of the four-stage sequence in action.
So let's walk through that timeline, because seeing the dates really makes the theory click.
It does. Let's start with stage 1. Modernize the delivery model, the launch. That happened on February 4th, 2025. Archer officially introduced Archer Evolve as their next-generation AI-powered SaaS platform.
Okay, so the flag is planted. We are now a SaaS company.
Check. Then we move into stage 2, reset the experience layer. This is when they started talking about NGRX, the next-generation risk experience.
The new UI.
The new UI. But look at the details of the rollout. They introduced configurable instance modes. You could have NGRX default or NGRX only.
That's a classic sign of a transition. It's a toggle switch. You can try the new thing, but the old thing is still here if you need it.
It's a safety net. And the article points to the chatter in the Archer community forums around that time, mid-2025. You had practitioners, real users openly discussing production readiness and pointing out performance differences between the new NGRS experience and the classic UI.
So the user base itself was actively validating the new experience layer. They were the ones finding the bugs and the gaps.
Exactly. That is a textbook signal that the experience layer is still being normalized. It's not fully baked yet.
And that leads into stage 3.
Stage 3. Stabilize extension and object models. This became really visible around the Archer Summit in 2025. At the summit, they didn't just talk about Evolve as one thing. They announced Evolve Risk and Evolve Intelligence.
A layered rollout.
The layered rollout. It shows they're building out the portfolio piece by piece, module by module. They're stabilizing the object models for risk first, then moving on to other areas. It's a rational engineering approach, but it proves they are deep in the build-out phase.
And then they added another layer on top of that. The continuous narrative.
Right. On November 19th, 2025, there was a Business Wire release about Archer extending Evolve with continuous controls monitoring. And then just this month, January 2026, they published a white paper called Why Continuous Controls Monitoring is the Future of Cyber GRC.
Okay, so we're looking at a timeline from the initial launch in February 2025 to now. That's almost a full year. So what's the verdict from the article? Where is Archer in the sequence?
The verdict is that they're executing a massive, necessary modernization. But the center of gravity for them right now is clearly and firmly in stages 1 through 3. They are deep in the work of foundation, experience, and extensibility.
Which means stage 4, the productized integration, is still on the horizon.
It's still on the roadmap. So if you bought Evolve in March 2025 thinking, great, this is a mature, fully integrated SaaS platform, you're probably in for a surprise. You bought into the transition, not the final destination.
And there's a premium research note about this on the RTJ bridge, right?
Yes, a companion piece titled IRM 50 on Watch. 1 year after Evolve, the TRM transition is still playing out. It goes even deeper into the evidence.
The key takeaway being that a new UI does not equal immediate integration maturity. The transition is still very much in progress.
And again, Archer is just a transparent example. Every major legacy vendor is going through a similar journey, whether they're as open about it or not.
Okay, this is so valuable.
Yeah.
Because now we have a framework. So let's make this super practical. I'm a buyer. It's 2026. A vendor walks in with a demo that looks amazing. How do I spot the trap? John's article lists 5 red flags. Let's go through them.
These are the tripwires. If you hear these phrases, your diligence alarms should start ringing. Red flag number 1. Integration is described as a capability, not a pattern.
Okay, what's the difference in plain English?
Capability means, yes, we have an API library. You can hire a team of developers and spend 6 months building a connection to your other systems.
It's technically possible.
It's possible. A pattern, on the other hand, means we have a pre-built, supported, repeatable solution for connecting our platform to Salesforce or ServiceNow that you can deploy in a week.
It's the difference between being handed a box of bricks versus a finished wall.
A perfect analogy. If their answer to how do you integrate is to just point you to their API documentation, that's a huge red flag.
Got it. Red flag number 2. The new UI is a transition decision.
This goes right back to the Archer example. If you, as the customer, have to choose between a classic mode and a modern mode because the modern one still has performance issues or lacks key features from the old one, then the baseline platform is still settling.
It means they don't have enough confidence in the new experience to turn off the old one.
Exactly. You're buying a product that is still at war with itself.
Okay. Red flag number 3. The extension model is prominent.
This one is more subtle, but it's a big tell. If the vendor's sales pitch focuses heavily on how you can configure and build things yourself, look at our flexible studio, you can create your own objects, you can script any behavior, it's often a sign that their out-of-the-box solutions aren't mature yet.
That's brilliant. Flexibility can be a code word for, we haven't built it yet, so you have to.
Precisely. They're selling you a powerful toolkit because they haven't finished building the actual applications on top of it. They're shifting the development burden from their R&D team to your implementation team.
Wow. Okay, red flag number 4. Continuous is a narrative.
Everyone is talking about continuous controls monitoring. It's the buzzword of the year. But you have to dig past the label. Ask them to show you the evidence trails. Ask about the exception handling workflows.
What happens when the continuous connection breaks at 2 a.m. on a Saturday?
Exactly. Who gets the alert? What's the audit trail? If they can't show you the nitty-gritty operational mechanics of it, then continuous is just a marketing narrative. It's a slide, not a system.
And the 5th and final red flag, which ties back to the whole AI discussion.
Red flag number 5. SaaS value is not reconciled with AI trust. This is the big one for today. If they can't give you a clear, crisp technical explanation of how their new SaaS architecture handles data boundaries and governs non-human identities in an AI context, that is a showstopper.
If their answer is a lot of hand-waving about our secure cloud and our powerful AI,
but they can't tell you how they prevent your data from being used to train a model that serves your competitor, or how they audit the actions of an AI agent, then you are inheriting a massive, unquantified risk.
okay, those flags are an amazing diagnostic kit. But let's go one step further. Let's arm our listeners with the exact questions to ask. You're in the room. The demo is over. What are the 5 killer verification questions from the article?
Write these down. Take them to your next vendor meeting. Question 1. Which stage of the 4-stage transformation sequence are most of your customers operating in today?
That's a great question. Not where are you going, but where's the bulk of your user base right now?
Exactly. Are 90% of them still on the old classic platform? That tells you everything you need to know about the new platform's maturity.
Okay. Question 2.
Which of your integration patterns are fully productized, supported, and repeatable versus those that are implementation specific? Force them to make that distinction between a real off-the-shelf product and a custom project that requires developers.
Get specific examples. Show me 3 customers using that repeatable pattern in production.
Yes. Question 3. What does continuous mean operationally in your system? Show me the audit trail. Show me the alert workflow. Make them prove it's more than a buzzword.
Love that. Question 4.
How does your SaaS model specifically address AI-era trust issues like data boundaries and non-human identity governance? Don't let them off the hook with vague answers. Make the sales rep bring in a sales engineer who can talk architecture.
And if they can't answer that clearly, that's a huge problem.
It's a deal breaker in 2026. And finally, question 5. What parts of your platform are stable today versus what is on the near-term roadmap and subject to change?
In other words, what am I buying that's finished, and what am I buying that's still a construction site?
Precisely. If they're planning a major overhaul of the UI in the next 6 months, you need to know that before you invest in training thousands of your employees on the current version.
These questions are gold. They completely change the dynamic of the conversation from a sales pitch to a proper diligence exercise.
And a mature vendor, an honest vendor, will appreciate these questions. They'll have answers. They might say, look, we're currently stabilizing stage 3, so you should expect some turbulence here, but our stage 2 experience layer is locked down. That's an answer you can work with.
It's the vendors who get defensive or evasive that are waving the biggest red flag of all.
That's when you know you're in the trap.
So as we start to wrap this up, what's the big takeaway for the industry? Are we saying people should just stop buying new risk technology?
No, absolutely not. The article is very clear about this. Platform reinvention is necessary. It's critical. Vendors have to do this to stay relevant. We need the capabilities that modern cloud and AI architectures can provide.
We can't stay stuck in the past.
We can't. The risk isn't the software itself or the act of modernization. The risk is the buyer mistaking the beginning of that reinvention for the end result of maturity.
That's the core distinction.
It is. The advice for 2026 is to treat every next-gen SaaS plus AI announcement not as a signal to go sign a check, but as a prompt to begin your deep diligence. You have to be a skeptic. You have to be a rigorous buyer.
So I'll leave our listeners with a provocative thought to chew on, something to ask yourself the next time you're looking at a multi-million-dollar software proposal.
Okay.
Ask yourself this. Are you buying a tool to help you manage your organization's risk? Or are you actually buying into the vendor's risk of stabilizing their own unfinished platform?
That is the million-dollar question, and sometimes it's literally a multi-million-dollar question.
Well, thank you for listening to this deep dive on the risk wheelhouse. We really hope this gives you the tools to navigate that trap.
My pleasure. And don't forget, you can read the full article with all the charts and data at risktechjournal.com.
And for those of you who need that next level of analysis, get the deep dive research notes and companion pieces at rtj-bridge.com. We will see you on the next one.
Signing off.
That wraps up another episode of the Risk Wheelhouse. Thank you for spending time with us at Wheelhouse Advisors today. We hope you found the conversation insightful and actionable for your organization's risk strategies. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. If you're looking for more in-depth analysis and thought leadership on risk technology, be sure to visit the RiskTech Journal at therisktechjournal.com. It's your go-to source for comprehensive articles, expert interviews, and the latest trends shaping the industry. Subscribe today to stay informed. For any inquiries or feedback, please contact us directly at info@wheelhouseadvisors.com, or feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn and x.com and share your thoughts or suggestions for future topics. Visit wheelhouseadvisors.com for more information and resources. Thanks again for joining us. Until next time, navigate wisely.